musidɓe am fulɓe, again, greetings from your boy, let's say, from your boy, your friend. My name is Ibrahima Malal Sarr. I made a video in Pulaar-Fulfulde, like in the dialect, if you want. It's a dialect that's mostly spoken around, north of Mauritania, north of Senegal, south of Mauritania, the west of Mali, etc. It's quite a wide region. And I was saying that maybe not everybody will fully understand what I was talking about. I mean, they know what I'm talking about, but they won't fully understand every detail. So that's why I thought it might be interesting to make a special video for my friends and the whole lineal living in, I don't like Anglophone, Francophone, living in English-speaking areas, like Nigeria, maybe Cameroon, Sierra Leone, everywhere. I did that video in the Fulfulde dialect, which is, it's a Pulaar-Fulfulde. It's one language. It's one language. Regional differences are only created by time and distance, and they become some kind of wealth to the language. It makes the language richer. So you could go to that video and try to understand it, do it as a listening comprehension, because it helps us mutually understand if we are used to listening to each other. But of course, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to talk about the writing script that's called ADLAM. I made a video on that in Pulaar. Now I'm just making another one in English for my friends who will maybe understand English better. For also some people who are not Fulbe but who are involved in that kind of work, who are helping to push those so-called writing scripts. I have a special thought and a special thank you for everybody that's dedicated time and energy to develop our beloved language, Pulaar-Fulfulde, and I take this opportunity to wish you a very happy 2023 year. Also, may this year be a year that when we start understanding what is important for the language, what is important and what is purely accessory, if I may use that term. So for the past few years, social networks have done a great job in bridging the gap, the distance gap that was between us and our people living in faraway areas like Nigeria, like Sudan, like Chad. Bridging the geographical gap and also bridging the linguistic gap, because we've been doing a lot of work to try to understand each other more, learn each other's grammar, vocabulary, and we even have WhatsApp groups with Nigerians, people from Niger, elsewhere, and some kind of coming together as one people, using one language and using one writing system. that would never be possible if we actually take different ways. I mean, the wrong way. So I'll come back to that later. I don't want this video to be too long. Those social networks helped us come together and improve mutual understanding, and improve also the harmonization of the language. And everybody was kind of like adopting the same writing system, actually the same spelling and everything. Now let's talk about ADLAM. And first of all, people should understand that we have nothing personal against those who created ADLAM. If there was no ADLAM, we would be like just good friends, and like everybody else would be super happy. We can even be good friends. I mean, even if I oppose that, that's not really an issue. So really, guys, don't really get me wrong. Nothing personal, and I think also it's a good thing when people step up and initiate anything aimed at developing their language. That is a good thing, don't get me wrong, right? But there are two simple facts that speak for themselves if you listen to what I'm telling you. Those two facts that speak for themselves are we already have an alphabet, I would say an established alphabet, an established writing system. We've had it for decades. Second fact is, it's adopted almost everywhere where people are involved in the learning process. Not where people have not yet, right? So it's mostly like everywhere except where people have not engaged in codifying, learning, and producing materials in the language. I would say those empty areas are where they haven't adopted the Latin writing system, because we adopted it, and like officially many countries came together in the Bamako 1966 conference to adopt that the Latin alphabet, not just Pulaar-Fulfulde, but other languages too. And still, they are still the only one that are officially adopted by the countries. So, as I was saying, don't get me wrong, nothing personal about like when I criticize what they've done. It's not because they've created an alphabet. No, it's not. It is. I'll come to that. Let's say. So the language has reached a very high level of codification. Learning, producing materials, in all linguistic aspects, especially spelling and grammar. You know, I can show like dozens of books like here, within like my hand's reach, about grammar of the language and everything else. And I was, when I greeted people, when I say 2023, I was thinking about our own Pulaar-Fulfulde months and days, names that we've been using for ages, while others are using Altine, Talata, Alarba. These are like Arabic. And that the research was done by one of our prominent fathers, probably a little bit difficult to see, who is called Abu Dembil Mbut. He wrote this very esoteric book about stars called lettres. So actually, he uncovered this, that we had our own calendar. That's not Gregorian calendar, that's not Islamic calendar, and the names of the months also and of the days are totally different. Just to tell you, this guy has never seen any other alphabet than the Latin alphabet. Unfortunately, and I will say that's God's will. The father, Abu Dhaman, left us a few years ago. Just to tell you something about, Abu Dhaman has never heard about anybody trying to create an alphabet. And if he heard it, he would be really hurt and say, why? We only have a writing system. Look at this other book by the most prominent Egyptologist after Sheikh Anta Diop. He's Fulfulde and he's called Abu Bakr Musalla. And this is a very famous book he wrote called Fulfulde Gilaheli Eyoe Hafututoro. I had the pleasure to get this book long before, it was published, and had done a lot of annotations and everything. You can see all the pages that I bookmarked and everything. Okay. These are just a few truth jokes, and so we already have an established alphabet, and it's adopted everywhere, and we have produced a lot and a lot and a lot and a lot. Except I'm telling you, where people have not started learning that. So the language has reached that level and entered Unicode 16 years ago. Okay, 16 years ago that Pulaar-Fulfulde entered Unicode. That's a long time ago. And thousands of books have been written. I have got here like 300, and I'm not even in the area where it's easier to find books, It's easier to find books back home there in Africa, not here. Yes. So just showing people that if we create a new alphabet, it means that everything we've done yet was like people aren't satisfied with that, but who we are. I'm a typography expert, and I created the first Windows fonts for Fulfulde back in like 1990s. At that time, there were no like possibility to type Fulfulde in computers. People had those mechanical writing machines that made a lot of noise, that had like producing the characters by hitting on a tape and ink, something like that. So I told them at that time, I was very young, and told them I can create the fonts in Windows if you buy the software. So a lot of people believed that I could do it, and some didn't. Say, hey, get out of there. Africans usually, when you're young, they think that you can't do it, or it's just talk. They don't trust people. And then we bought the software called Type Designer, and the box is still here in my office. It's called Type Designer. So I don't want to interrupt this video, but I could go and grab the box called Type Designer, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause this, guys. Look at that beast. It's very dusty actually, but you see, it's called Type Designer for Windows. Type Designer. This is used to draw characters and to create fonts for the language. This I've had it for decades, and it's still here. You see, it's a very dusty. Okay. And actually, it's just a floppy. Actually, it is the documentation that makes the box big. It's just a floppy in the floppy disk. Just to tell you that for us, the alphabet issue is considered solved. If we didn't have an alphabet, I would create it. I wouldn't go to find Americans to help me digitize it. I would do it myself. So why I didn't create an alphabet? Because I was totally satisfied with the Latin alphabet. Who does it belong to? Nobody. Who does baseball cap belong to? Nobody. Jackets, shoes, trousers. So there's nothing cultural about alphabets. It's just arbitrary signs. So I heard some people said, yeah, it makes our ethnicity proud. Wow. Very dangerous. What is ethnicity? We Africans, we live in states, and in the states you have other ethnic groups. So you think by going your way, doing your own thing, and forgetting about not doing things together, that will bring you proud. But proud does not build nations. Proud does not bring Africa together, because if we are too proud of ourselves, so that's the total opposite how we should be thinking. So let's come back to this. So while it is considered solved, I heard like 2 people came with their alphabet, like helped by some Western professionals who are professionals. Some of them I know. We talked a little bit, and those people, they don't care about the people in a language. They only care about their job. That's drawing characters. So you see, once I talked on Twitter to some of them, we had quite a warm discussion. I said, why didn't you create a script for English? Because you're professionals and you're using English. No answer. So they are creating alternative scripts for Africans. And you see, in Guinea only, you have like many scripts, and these people would maybe like every single ethnic group to have their own script. Well, that would be great for their business, but terrible for us. Take the example of Senegal. You have maybe about 8 languages. So everybody is using the Latin alphabet, but they all have different languages. And I'm telling you, if you learn one of the languages, it helps you write in the other, making it much easier to read and write and also learn everybody else's language. We Fulbe, we are scattered around many countries. We don't have a fixed nation. That's why we should do everything to be in good terms with the ones that we live in the same country, because that is very important. For the time being, we live with other people. We share nations with other ethnic groups. So I don't want to hear about, this is our own thing, and no, it's not. It's just arbitrary characters. But what's the big problem for those who created this was not that they've created the writing system, but they lied their way into getting both technical and more like help from because they said simply that our language didn't have any writing system and it was going to disappear. And you say, wow, that language is going to disappear. We won't let that happen. We'll help you develop your writing system, your script. That was not true. They didn't tell the truth. A lot of people who wrote about the brothers who created ADLAM, when we read them, we just, I jumped to the ceiling. Why did they say that we didn't have a writing system? We did have. Why did they say that everybody is using it? Why did they say we have websites? We have Firefox browser. We have Facebook, the entire Facebook translated into Fuller. And we have also word processors. We had even some phones that were 100% Fuller. I've got one here. This is the Orange Cliff. You can't see, but it's 100% Fuller and it's still working. If you could see the day, it says today. it says, Abnde, Jana Silo. Yes, Monday, 9th of January. There's another one also called Flame you can see by Firefox OS. We've done a lot of things, but a lot of people are just not aware of it. So these guys should not try to discredit what we're doing, but it's not fair and it's not very intelligent, because don't forget that it is actually the states that actually are in charge of education. So in 1966, it was like states who like agreed upon the alphabet, because it's a universal alphabet, very easy to learn. Everybody learns it at school. So when you transfer it to your language, it's so simple. So making it more complicated by inventing another script, I just don't see it. And actually, they engage in discrediting everything that was done before by like our great elders, Alpha Ibrahima Malal Sarr, Yero Doro Jallo, Mutudu Job Seydou Kane, Jibri Hameli, and also many others. Maybe you don't know these names. Oh yeah? Neither did the inventors of the new alphabet. So that's why they adopted this insulting attitude of saying, yeah, our alphabet, our own interest, we the two, is more important than the interest of the global Fulfulde community. So that is why we fought that idea. Okay? And also these guys were totally unknown to the community of contributors like me and a lot of people until the font came to exist. So that's why when a lot of people heard about the ADLAM font, actually at first people listened to them. Well, they were welcomed. But people were asking them, right, so can you tell us about this? What makes you think that the community needs a new alphabet? So they were welcomed in Facebook Live. I saw one live Facebook show. They were also invited in WhatsApp groups, just for them to explain, because people were saying, okay, right, maybe if we hear from them, they will tell us. So they have actually never explained satisfactorily why we need another alphabet. Instead, sometimes they even get angry at questions and everything, which means that this alphabet was totally unnecessary. So from that time, people also knew that they've never contributed anything except their ADLAM business. So the whole thing was rejected widely as unnecessary or even dangerous. Instead of bringing us their stone to the global effort, they engage in trying to demolish what we've done, trying to discredit, which I think was not something very intelligent, and it's also counterproductive, because you can convince a lot of people who are not aware, but in areas where there's a solid implantation of the language, it is almost impossible. That is the big problem they're having probably in Senegal and Mauritania. And actually Senegal and Mauritania is where the areas where the language is very well developed, and the rate of literacy in Pulaar-Fulfulde it's much higher than anywhere else. I'm talking about literacy. So at first they had some relative success in the areas where people didn't know much about, like learning Pulaar-Fulfulde. Didn't know we have books and dictionaries, we have phones and things like that. So most see this as a regression and just don't accept that people can just come up with a font and say, okay, right, can you drop everything you've been doing and let's replace this with that. Okay, good. Let us follow that logic now. I'm a type designer, I told you. I told you my software is here. And it's still working. It's from the 90s. I can create a new script and also try to convince people to use it. And I'm telling you, our followers, they will be using it. Someone else can do that too. And we will have like 200 fonts. And every like 200 yards, you have people using a different writing system. Okay, good. If this is your conception of language progress, you are wrong. We are scattered geographically. God has given us the chance to live in an era where we have the internet, we have social networks where we can come together and do things together. But that actually is now being jeopardized by people who, for their own interest, are creating new writing systems to do business and not caring about if it's harmful or not to us. I've heard a lot of arguments. Guys, nobody is stupid. If we needed this, I would welcome it. We don't. It's totally unnecessary. And what they're doing here, trying to tell people to drop like Latin because it's a colonization, and why don't you drop the caps and the trousers and everything? Leave it. It's also colonization. So guys, don't get fooled. If you want Fulfulde to be strong, let us avoid division. You know, division, linguistic division also exists. I mean, as if we don't have enough problems like that. Just look at us, Burkina Faso, Mali, in the Central African Republic, even in Guinea, coming together with the neighbors, our ethnic neighbors, consolidating our language by learning the language simply by using the only alphabet that's official in many countries. This is the only way, guys. It is the only way. Using a very strange script, maybe it's some pride. Yeah, we have our own thing, but pride doesn't happen here. Pride happens here, and that is very dangerous. Guys, this video was too long. Sorry for that. Let's actually continue the discussion. And again, sorry for anybody that got frustrated by what I said about ADLAm. But no matter how you like ADLAm, no matter how it's important, no matter what joy, pride it brings you, it's the wrong way, guys. It is the wrong way. May God help us. Peace.